I was wrong about the Giants. Very, very wrong. But I was actually right about the Cowboys, sidebar. Remember I made that video a few weeks ago where I was like, yeah, guys, the Cowboys are pretty underrated, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won the NFC East. They made a lot of good moves in the offseason. Remember that? But yeah, back to me being very wrong, because I know that's the reason why you guys are here. 40-0. What a way to open a season. That game was worse than I could have ever imagined. I mean, by just looking at how every team in the league played week 1 and only week 1, the Giants look like the worst team in the NFL by far. That game was such an atrocity. Before the end of the second quarter, I was having visions of Caleb Williams. I was like, well, maybe we're actually gonna, do that this year. Maybe we're actually gonna, win the draft this year, not the division. OptaStats posted this stat that just really illustrates how historically bad last night was for the Giants. So they wrote, tonight the Giants lost the game 40-0 or worse, lost the sack battle 7-0 or worse, lost the turnover battle 3-0 or worse, had a field goal blocked and a return for a touchdown, threw a pick 6, and then at the bottom they write, no other team in NFL history has had all 5 happen in the same season, let alone in a single game. And for me personally, the thing that stings the most is that the Giants actually looked so good on the opening drive. But then, as we all know, at the end of that opening drive is when things started to go downhill fast. I don't understand how the Giants O-line was that bad last night. Yes, I understand Dallas has a great defense, specifically a great pass rush, but how did this O-line regress so much from last year when they actually made additions to make the O-line better? It just doesn't make sense. You think Evan Neal, a top 10 draft pick last year, would improve in his second season? He actually looked way worse, and maybe like he should be on the bench or at least move to guard, not tackle. I mean, Evan Neal, the top 10 pick, was getting beat by a 7th round pick consistently. Then the Giants drafted a center in the second round, which was supposed to be a huge upgrade for the middle of this offensive line. Drive 1, bad snap happens, ball's almost fumbled, and that set up the block field goal that was returned for a touchdown. And then there's Daniel Jones. The interception where he was looking to throw it away and he actually then just threw it to the Cowboys defense was atrocious, just absolutely unexcusable for a quarterback that's in his 5th year in the league. Like, you can't do that. How do you just not throw it out of bounds? Why are you throwing it in the field of play? Just overall, Daniel Jones looked like he regressed so much from all the progress he made last season in last night's game. Yes, I know he got sacked 7 times, and yes, I know he had a ton of pressure on him, but even when he did have time to get the ball out, the decision making wasn't good at all. The throw to Barkley that actually ended up being a pick 6 is a ball that actually should have never been thrown by Jones. Diggs was just sitting there and waiting to hit Saquon as soon as he got the ball. Also, it was 3rd and 18, I believe. Why are you throwing it so far behind the line to gain when you have 2 receivers running deep routes? I would rather see him throw it to one of those guys and take the risk. Maybe they catch it. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's incomplete. Maybe you actually draw a pass interference because you got 2 guys battling for a ball there. I mean, yes, I understand the receiver at the bottom of the screen. That would be a kind of tough throw. It would definitely be like a 50-50 ball. But look at the top of the screen. The receiver is wide open. If you throw that ball with touch and lead the receiver, that's an easy first down. Also, the Giants coaching staff really alarmed me in this game too. And that's a code red because this Giants coaching staff was the best thing about this team last year. It's the reason they made it to the playoffs and actually won a game in the playoffs for the first time since their Super Bowl run in 2011. Once things started to go downhill and this team faced some adversity, it seemed like they were just totally out of the game. It all started with that false start on the first drive. After the Giants were driving the ball down the field, they had a great first drive there on offense. You got the false start that backs them up 5 yards and makes it 3rd and 8, I believe, or 3rd and longer than it was, obviously. Then the bad snap, ball goes back a ton of yards, set up a long field goal. Field goal gets blocked, return for a touchdown. After that, this team looked like they had no fight in them. They looked just disoriented. They didn't look like they thought they could get back in this game, and that's not good. And another question I have for this coaching staff is why were the starters in when it was 40-0? There was no coming back at that point. Why are you risking your starters being injured in week 1 in a winless game? Because if Daniel Jones or someone got hurt in that game, it would be a really, really bad look for this coaching staff, and I just really don't understand the decision making there, leaving the starters in as long as they did. Next week should be a very interesting game versus the Arizona Cardinals because, everyone thinks they're tanking. But you know what? The Giants actually played way worse than the Cardinals did in week 1. So, maybe the Giants are like, hey, we're actually interested in Caleb Williams too, guys. Or maybe the Giants are just a worse team than the Cardinals. Who knows? But as a Giants game, I am very nervous for this game, week 2 versus the Cardinals, because if they lose this game, this season feels over in week 2.